Happy Monday morning, gang. Hope everybody had a good, productive weekend. Got some stuff done. Weather's cooling down. It's a little nicer to be out working outside. You're not sweating bullets out there. Maybe not, hopefully not fighting off the mosquitoes as much either, right? Yeah, that was our weekend. It was cleaning out gardens and doing all that stuff. Starting to put things to bed for the year, because eventually the weather's going to get cold and, hey, other things need to get done. Need to get all this stuff in the compost pile so it can start doing its thing. Need to start prepping areas to plant garlic, for example, or fall crops that you've got. Sure. So Mrs. P and I got to talking while we were out working. Sure, go figure, and it was kind of funny. The conversation went off to what we're doing and what we've harvested and what we're planning on next year and where we should put this crop and where we should put that. And it got me thinking because, and you guys probably hear this stuff too, about the people who said, the negative Nancys out there, okay? The Karens who think this is all a waste of time. You'll never grow enough food to support yourself in an SHTF situation. Yeah, if I don't do anything, you're right, okay? If I do something, I will. Hey, maybe I won't grow enough food to have big fancy salads and all this sort of stuff 365 days a year. True, I won't, okay? That's why I've been doing this for years, and I keep putting stuff back every year, because guess what? We're not in an SHTF situation yet. I can still go to the grocery store, and I can still buy other stuff. I've still stocked other stuff. So, yeah, unless an SHTF situation lasts about 5 years, I'm okay. It's always funny listening to these losers who have no idea what prepping is, but it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, but guaranteed they'll be the first one on somebody's front doorstep going, can I have a tomato? And it doesn't matter what you look at. It could be weapons. Oh, you'll never compete against the military. The military has tanks. What do you need a gun for? Blah, blah, blah. You'll never beat. You can't outrun drones. You're right. I can't, okay? Military comes up with a tank. Sorry, I can't do anything against a tank. I can't do anything against a drone. I will agree with you. However, chances are that's not who I'm facing, at least early on in any sort of situation. Do I expect a ground war like that in the United States? No. Could be wrong. Okay, might happen. And if it does, you know what? They'll bury me. Okay, so be it. Now, the people that I expect to have to defend myself against are the bandits, the marauders, the gangs, whatever. Yeah, okay. Who are going to be probably relatively equally armed to me. All right, at least I've got a fighting chance. Sure, that makes sense. So, you know what? Stockpiling ammo, training on weapons, doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, it gives me a better chance of survival than not you personally here, but the people that are going, oh, it's just a waste of time, it's a waste of money, why are you doing all of that? Okay. Or you look at the people who are like, oh, you know what, you wasted all that money putting solar on your house, it's not going to work, if it's a cloudy day, you don't get anything. If there's an EMP, it's going to take it out. Okay, you may be right. But you know what? Guaranteed that you didn't do anything, when the grid goes down, not if, when, okay, when the grid goes down, guaranteed you have no power. Doesn't matter what you think your alternative is, sure, you're going to get out a water wheel. You might have wanted to build that first, huh? Or any of the other brilliant ideas. Hey, you got a gas generator. Wonderful. Okay, you need gasoline. Oh, but I'll do wood gasification or something. Sure, right. We talked about that one time, how useless that is. Got it. Okay. You might be able to power a little generator with it or something, but you're not building one on your car or using power tools or anything off of that. And good luck with all that noise generation that you have. Just saying. It's an idea. If you guys want to do it, go ahead. It kind of destroys your OPSEC, but okay. Or we talk about communications I did the other day. This was kind of funny when you hear the negatives on this one. And as I said, it's not a completely uncrackable cipher, but yeah, all right. Chances are the Joe Average out there, the typical enemy we can expect to face, you face a military, they're going to crack it, okay? But the marauders, the bandits, that sort of stuff, they're not going to. Oh, but AI can crack that. Probably, no doubt. I'm going to tell you one little tip here. In an SHTF situation, the only reason you're using something like that is because the communications grid has been taken down, which means there is no internet, there is no cell phone service to use, and unless you are some solo AI person who's got something going, you don't have access to it. ChatGPT is not going to work when there is no internet. I love these people that can't think past the tip of their nose. I mean, dumb as a box of rocks would be an improvement for a lot of these people. You look at it and you go, okay, what we do isn't totally conventional, we'll say that. Not a whole lot of people, I think I mentioned the other day, 3% of Americans have 3 weeks worth of food put back. The prepper community has significantly more. I can't tell you the percentage of people that have backup power. I mean, it's probably significantly more because there's a lot of people that have solar of some sort in their house, not for prepping, but for everyday use. What California's trying to make it mandatory that people do it. People have backup generators. That's a good thing, okay? There's a lot of people who own guns. There's a lot of people who train on them that aren't preppers. No problem, okay? Good. I'm counting on that. They will be allies. All these people will be allies. Plenty of people who garden, farm, do whatever, that farmers probably have a lot more in common with us than those that don't. But when you start putting all these things together, even if you're at the very beginning of your journey or the very end of your journey, there is no final place, okay? But you get closer and closer and closer to having everything you could possibly get, okay? And learning everything you could well, you can't really learn everything you possibly can. Like I said, I'm not going to med school to figure out how to be a surgeon just in case SHTF happens, okay? So some things aren't going to happen. But you're much better doing what you do, even if it's cause for alarm sometimes. I got an email from one of you guys yesterday who, professional capacity, okay, IT guy. And he had mentioned it took him 6 months to find a job. That Not a single job he applied to on Monster or Career Builder or Indeed or anything like that called him for interviews. That where he finally got hired was through connections of connections of connections, and that was how it happened. Gee, kind of sounds like what we do. Connections of connections. You get to know people, right? You learn what they have, what they can do, what you can do for them, what they can do for you, right? But it was 6 months. And, I've said many times about putting money back to have 6 months worth of bills. I can't do that. That's way too much. No, you won't do that. It's not can't do that. Everybody can do that. You have to cut back somehow. Y'all have seen the videos online of people. I saw one yesterday. My husband works 50 hours a week. I work 40 hours a week. And we can't, we've got 4 kids and we can't save any money. We have to decide whether or not we go to the grocery store or pay the mortgage. Right? Times are tough. I will give you that. As I look at this woman who's probably just come from the hairstylist, makeup parlor, whatever it is. I mean, perfect makeup, eyebrows, everything. Hey, maybe cut that out. What's your car payment? All this sort of stuff. And you have all these people. I can't do that. I have to drive around in the fancy car. Okay? Drive around in the fancy car. You have to starve in a situation too. I have to have the new jet ski. I have to have the vacation to Tahiti, whatever, right? Okay. Y'all do what you want to do. But just be aware. There are plenty of us who continue to do what we do. As boring as it looks, as waste of a time as you think it is, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to go, damn, I wish I would have listened to these guys rather than ridicule these guys, because they actually know what they're doing. And I'm a dumbass. But hey, that just describes about 99% of the population. Pinball out.